getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
How you doing, Steve?
Doing well, Tom. How are you?
Not bad. Kind of tired, but that's kind of typical.
It warmed up pretty quick this morning.
Yes, because Wednesday was... Remember I was telling you about my Thursday game that felt like March? I think that was more like a February game on Wednesday for the girls. Oh, man. Not only was it...
It was like a 39 degree or 30... It was in the 30s wind chill because you had said something up in the stands. So when I went back to the car in my warm seat to watch, I looked, and the wind chill was down in the 30s.
Yeah, so it was the wind that was the worst part. And I'm like, hey, we just created a new sport, goggle ball. So all you girls playing softball, put goggles on, they'll play dust bowl.
Dust bowl.
But it was a good game. They won, which I wasn't surprised. Mascoma was on a rebuilding year, you know, and we're at the top this year. We're playing really well. And so they got a game, I think, Monday's away. They have like, might even be today. I don't remember now. The schedule's
Posted.
It's posted though, but they have like 5 games left, and they're away, and then playoffs start. And I don't think
that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I don't think we face any teams coming up that are a challenge. Which in some ways it's too bad because you want some challenges, obviously. Newfoundland's the biggest challenge, and but once the girls got into the game, it just kind of blew it open, and they did awesome. So congratulations to Stan and Jeremy, coaches of the varsity team. Maddie Miller said the other, or Maddie Miller, excuse me. There's too many Maddies. Maddie Norris, nope, wrong one again. Let's go with the last one. Aldridge said, I know there's 3 of them. I'm like, oh, I'll finally get it. Said something about, what are you coaching or whatever? And I'm like, nope, I'm just here to help, do whatever, help with the field, help whatever. All the credit goes to those guys and those girls that are working so hard. Definitely making Newport proud, and it was awesome. So, the other thing I wanted to mention, she'd probably be mad I'm going to mention this, but I'm going to anyways. Proud of my wife. She says to me, a couple days ago, she's like, and I'm not going to tell the people who, because it's not important, but she's taking a girl dress shopping today to get a dress for the prom that's tomorrow, because I guess either the dress she had something with it or whatever. Long story short, she like set up to get her hair done and get her dress, and so I'm very proud of my wife for doing that. That's kind of like the best thing about owning the business now, again, I guess. You know, her owning the business at this point, and just like...
It's easier to give back.
Yes, which is all we ever want to do anyways. You know?
Yeah, Corey gave when he owned it, too.
He did, too. Absolutely.
Some of it might have been prompted by you, because a couple times I heard the exchanges.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Corey, you're going to sponsor Zeta, or you're going to sponsor this. And, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So, no, I'm really proud of her for doing that. It's awesome.
It is a away game today.
I thought it was. Okay.
Hillsborough, Deering.
Yep. And they've gotten better since the beginning of the season. They're closer to a 500 team now, so or they are a 500 team, so it'll be a little more of a challenge. And
imagine if we had a producer, because then they could have had all this pulled up.
Pull it up.
And it would be up on the screen behind us.
Anyone want to come produce the show? It doesn't pay anything, but...
Internship.
All right.
You get to hang out with us. What more could you want? You get an hour and a half, 2 hours a day hanging out with the 2 douchiest guys in Newport.
It's funny because I went to the band concert last night, and that's why I wasn't at the zoning board. I was getting a phone call while I was at the band concert from Christina asking if I was coming. So I was like, oh, I wonder if they're short. And I don't even know if that happened. I don't know. But my priority at that point was the band concert for Lydia 8th grade and going to be, 9th grade next year. And it was a good concert. The kids are really, the 6th and 7th grade has a choir or whatever. Is it a choir? Yeah. A chorus. Chorus. And they did really well too. And we actually got front row. They didn't have enough seats set up at first. So I text Rodney, and it's funny, is like the text went out, like staff came in it was just totally ironic. I'm like, you don't have enough chairs out here. And they set up more chairs. So it was a great turnout. Unfortunately, same as a lot of middle school parents and stuff, once the middle school done, they left. And it's like, you're missing the best part. The high school kids are really good. And
they're creative. It's stuff you've never heard before. And sometimes
it is.
Because Steven's a composer, right?
Steven's
Did he play a personal piece that he had written? Or
he did. He had a couple of them that he arranged, and he did the drums mostly last night. And then he had one song where he bounced from like 4 different things. And the one thing I did notice, it sucks having it at the gym because you can't.
Acoustics? Or?
Well, you can't see as well.
Oh.
I'm used to sitting in the balcony, so you get a better view. Plus, their stage is much bigger
Right.
than ours, but they're doing that construction at the Opera House, and so I'm sure next year we'll be back there. And no, it was really great. And Steven's amazing though. Like he's amazing. And I talked to his dad and grandpa after, and which I've known them for quite a long time, and he's pretty much, he's playing a trumpet last night. He played a trumpet in one of the songs.
Wow.
And
I don't think I've ever seen him play the trumpet.
No, he just like music. Then Andrea's like, he's probably a genius. And I'm like, yeah, he comes like, I think he probably is. I bet his IQ is really high, and his musical IQ is amazing. Like, I can't wait to see what he does down the road.
Yeah, he'll be one of those guys that puts Newport back up on the map type of thing, where it'll be said at least outside of New England.
I mean, I've been involved with the school for a long time now, with kids that have graduated in the last couple of years and kids still in school, and I don't ever remember a musical talent to that level, like that, at least that I can remember in a very long time, if ever.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It is, and I was telling his dad, I was like, man, it's a shame because I'm looking like he won't be here next year, and Bella won't be here next year, and
Bella's a senior too?
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, almost positive. So it's unfortunate, but the 8th grade band is actually quite large. It's bigger than the whole high school band.
Yeah,
so hopefully those kids
we went to that concert
yes,
earlier
so
this
hopefully
year.
they'll all move up, and
there were some impressive talent there as well.
there is. It's great to watch. I'm glad kids are still doing band. I think it's very important. Mrs. Bailey or Mr. Stewart did a great job with the high school band. He always does. He's dressed up in his tux thing. It was great. And then Mrs. Bailey did an amazing job because I would gather from all our experience, like middle school's harder to teach than the high school because the high school kids are more settled down, more mature. She did an amazing job. It was great. So shout out to everyone that participated in that last night, and to Miss Bailey and Mr. Stewart for another great concert. So, and actually the 8th graders are going to play at graduation. So Miss Martin said that she's never had to ask the middle school before because she wants it to be a certain level, but she feels like those 8th graders are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
we had that conversation, and we had like a pre-graduation meeting.
Okay. Yep.
But I still thought they weren't going to have the middle school because it does need to be at a certain level because you have a lot of stress and pressure, and you're going for a while everybody marches. It's a big thing. So that's
a big thing.
A lot of responsibility on the old middle schoolers, but they can do it.
They certainly can. And congratulations. So 8th grade's going to step up for that. So I was at that. You were at the New Hampshire Stone Wall
Mapper briefing that the Newport Historical Society put on at the Richards Free Library. And I had never been, number one, on the 3rd floor of the Richards Free Library. Beautiful up there. It's just
so you know, it's haunted.
I felt it. When I was going up the stairs, I was like, hello. It was it's a cool building. Like I've been downstairs, but I've never been on the 2nd or 3rd floor.
Yeah, the 3rd floor, I believe, is where years ago, this is back when I was in school, Patrick Wiggins had a tapestry, like a weaving thing that she was doing up there. That was like one of these things that was going to take like 10 years. It's big, crazy big loom. I'm pretty sure that's where she had it, because I've always heard the stories like how it was haunted on the 3rd floor and stuff, and she'd be there at night, and I'm good. I'm good with that. Like, yeah, no, I'm good.
So it was a very informative brief. It was the former state geologist. He had just retired within the last couple of years, and they had tried to do this before the pandemic, and it fell through, and so they were actually able to come and brief us last night. And long story somewhat short, I'll put a link in the description so that if you want to, you can click to go to the Stonewall Mapper and read all about it. And you can go and look at the radar, it's light emitting or something like that.
Yeah,
the LiDAR. Yeah. So they shoot down radar. It has to break through. They usually do it when there's no leaves on the trees. Mm-hmm. And then it shoots back a map so they can see the geologic formations. He took us to like a 30-minute class of the way the iceberg moves across the state and the different formations that it leaves that you can see only with LiDAR. Like, you can be walking on the ground and have no idea. And then there were other like formations that left. He's like, this is where you'd want to build an orchard, like now that you have this map data, because it protects the trees, because of the way that it left those deposits. So like you can plant your trees and it won't freeze like the other night.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it was really interesting then.
Really interesting. I wish I would have taken notes so I could remember all the different terms, because I think I have, like, I live in the fantastical, like, I like to imagine there's something cool or whatever, but truth be told, now that I've seen that, there's some formations out here that I think that I can see, like that one mound that looks kind of like a serpent, but it's not. Like after looking last night, there was definitely a formation that leaves something like that when it moves forward or retreats. So anyway, very interesting. And the goal over the next few years is they're probably going to transition this from like a government-led thing, because it's based on a lot of grants, and people don't really have time in the government to map stone walls. This is more of a historical, cool thing to make sure we don't forget our history, but they're focused on drilling, safety, infrastructure building, and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to try to transition at some point to a nonprofit, or transition this data from the Stonewall Mapper to a nonprofit where you and I, if we're out walking around doing a hike and we come across a stone wall, this is like the end goal. Like, we can take a picture, allow it to be geotagged, which I won't do with my phone, because no. But you can take a picture, send it in, and then like a formula or whatever will be able to put it so that they actually can verify that that's a stone wall. And then they have an accurate map of it, so they could see all the old stone walls. And then he let us know that stone walls were, basically clearing the fields like we did. Then you go and you just take it to the edges. And then he covered the merino sheep boom of the 1800s, and how we went from heavily forested to deforested to now we're back to forested, like 86% of the state's forest.
So my numbers are really close when I say 85.
Yeah. We're pretty good. So anyway, it's very interesting. I'll put the link in, and if he didn't seem very knowledgeable about what all kinds of tutorials there are, but he said there should be some on there. So I haven't looked on it because I got home last night, and I want to be able to like focus on it.
Yeah.
I had family stuff going on, dinner and all that other stuff. So anyway, New Hampshire Stonewall Mapper, greatly appreciate the Historical Society. And as I don't know, what am I, middle-aged? I'm in my mid-40s still, I can say, until June 29th. But there were only a couple of us younger generation there. It was mostly older folks at the New Hampshire Historical Society. So I would encourage, find that spark in any of our younger audience to get involved with some of that stuff, because this is really cool, just the history of it. And then, with all the stone walls on my property, now I can have an imagination. Maybe I'm going to write a, fiction story about something that happened here. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it is cool.
So stone walls, appreciate the Historical Society. Support it whenever you can, and check out the link, and don't you don't have to just look for the stone walls. Like, you can go and look for the geographic formations on your property, or if you've seen something somewhere else. Allegedly, like, again, I haven't used the mapper yet.
No, it sounds really cool.
So I'm happy I did it. I wish I would have. I wouldn't have had to have gone if I knew that this existed out there. You know what I mean? Because I can get on there and play around. But it was nice to see some familiar faces with the Historical Society.
Nice. Good deal. Yeah, I don't know, I drawing a blank, but no, you didn't text me a lot yesterday. I was like, what's going on here? And I was like, I wonder if you remembered to go. As I'm sitting at the concert, I'm like, I bet he forgot.
Nah, man, I was looking.
I was like, I got back. I'm like, oh, he did go.
Hey, I've been looking forward to that. You saw me put it in my calendar. That's one of those things. This really interests me.
No, it's really cool. I think it's really cool, and because Stonewalls are such a historic thing for New Hampshire, and in the Northeast probably.
Yeah,
mostly,
New England.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
New York.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So a couple of these things on here that I talk about for the school. These things, I don't know, events. Milo was actually telling me about this the other day. I think is great. This is important. So they're going to be doing soccer nights. So Tuesday, Thursdays from June 27th through July 27th for a whole month, 5:30 to 7:30. Work on individual soccer skills, play pickup games, or just shoot around. All ages welcome. And then any soccer family interested in being a host of one or more of these nights, reach out to Jeff Miller. So any age doesn't matter. Family too. Like it's just a good way to get out, exercise, and but it also could help with soccer, which will be coming up this fall. So I think that's pretty cool and important.
So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at the end of the month on the 27th. End of June, excuse me. Yeah, so June 27th.
We'll keep talking about it. But
we will. And I'll keep it on here so we talk more about it. And there's no charge. Just drop in. And, if you have a child that might be interested in soccer, and this would be a good chance for you to sign them up.
It's a good way to burn energy.
Yeah, it's good exercise. I'm happy because Lydia said she's going to play soccer this year, and so I realized it's your favorite thing, which is running, right? She's like,
I mean, it's like 5 to 7 miles if you're playing.
Yeah, the way you're supposed to. Yeah. So it's good for them though. It's really good exercise.
Oh,
and watching the girls play soccer is incredible because I used to not like soccer, and just because I had I just expected it to be boring, or it's not really an American sport or whatever in my head. And then when the girls are playing, Alicia and Zeta, I'm like, holy crap, like they are aggressive, like super aggressive. And it makes it so much fun to watch. It's a great time. So it's a good sport.
They want to win.
Too. Yeah, that's good. That's what you want, So there's that, and we'll make sure we keep talking about it so that we remind people as time goes on. And then on Sunday, class of 2026 will be holding a car wash fundraiser at Irvin at 10 to 1. So come out, support them. If you have a dirty car, go mudding the night before, show up, they'll wash it, and it's for a donation. So, and then we should do this. I got to check what's going on because, no, never mind. Yeah, I can go after. So cruise night is this Monday from 6 to 8. It's beyond the Sugar River Bank. This is the second one for the year, and there's 2 scheduled every month.
I'm gonna go just for the burgers. If the who is it? The Kiwanis Club, or
I think he had someone else last time show up doing food, and he's like, "Hey, bring some burgers," because they were gonna do mostly hot dogs, and he's like, and he sold them out like quick. So we'll see if maybe on
or the Lions Club. It was somebody. That did
it was
Kiwanis
last year, yeah. And then the Cruising Cow is going to be there, which is a ice cream trailer. So that'll be good too. So they're always fun. It's a good
maybe
time.
I can get Zaya to go with me.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'll reach out to Wayne, and maybe we can get him to come on the show on Monday morning or something. Like I said, I just got to check my schedule because I don't know anymore what I'm doing from day to day. I know Monday and Tuesday I have soccer, softball games. Those are my last 2 home games at 4 o'clock both days. And I'm actually going to do practice Sunday, and I'm not a big weekend practice person, or especially a Sunday. But the fact that yesterday I couldn't hold practice because of the band concert, so most of my girls are in band. And then today, those same girls are at Six Flags for a band trip, end of the year thing. So, and then Wednesday I canceled practice, and the varsity coach Stanley's like, "Yeah, I would have canceled too because it was miserable, cold, windy."
Was that after the game?
Yeah,
I was wondering because you were texting me at 7. I was like, I thought you were going to be on your feet till 8. I didn't say that to you, but you was like, I got to sit down. I'm going to be on my feet till 8 tonight. Then you texted me, and I could tell that you were home, and I was like, suspect.
No, I was like,
a little sus, buddy.
The hell with this. It's too cold, and it's just no one's going to learn anything. It's going to be. So I was like, no, we'll cancel it, and we'll just do it Sunday, and then we got 2 games. And
all right, so here's what we're going to do, because I think what happened last year is as the summer approached, we got away from like doing what we're doing now, is highlighting all the things going on around town, and we got focused on all the BS going on the national level, because there was a lot obviously going on with that. But I think what we need to do is at least have a slide that we can superimpose behind us with a list of events that we're highlighting.
Yeah.
And it'll keep us going in order, because now I'm going to mention that it looks like, according to the school website, we got a little family movie night tonight at the Richards. It's being put on by the Richards PTO. I would double check because I'm on the school website, because sometimes things change. But they've been doing a pretty good job the last, 16, 18 months keeping the website updated. But and anytime you want to see what's going on, you can just go to the SAU website, click on events, and it'll list it out. Like varsity track at Stevens tonight.
Nice.
Or today, 4 o'clock it says.
They
So anyway, that's our commitment to you, so that it's at least organized, because we're flip-flopping all around between the end of June to tonight to tomorrow night to Monday. So we'll keep it in order. We owe you all that if you're going to put up with us.
Yeah. No, we can definitely do we almost should just have like an event calendar. We almost put on like a Facebook page or something too, that we could add all these things into that we talk about. It gets a little tougher in the summer because then we don't have the school stuff as much to talk about, but we'll find stuff. There's always good stuff to talk about. So, so cruise night, check that out. That's always fun. All kinds of old cars and trucks, and they give giveaways. It's just a good time. So, and they usually have food, and that's what I like about it. It's like, hey, let's get a burger, or a hot dog or whatever. Ice cream now.
Well, yeah, not Wednesday or yesterday.
What are you on there?
Well, there was a after-school briefing the other day that no families attended, and it was about social media.
No one showed up to that?
No one showed up.
So,
not one parent or student. This is the after-school one. They did an assembly at school, so
I will say,
I'm only reason I bring that up is because if you've watched the school board's behavior things, social media and cell phones play a large role into that.
Yeah. So
if you can't read the writing on the wall, that's going to be addressed at some point, and we want feedback, because I don't know.
So one thing,
it's your chance to be heard.
Well, a couple things. That was Tuesday, right?
Yeah, that's why I was looking to double check.
So we had a softball game.
Hey, you don't owe me.
No. I wanted. There was something I was interested in, but one thing I will say, and I need to tell Donna, was the way it was advertised wasn't good.
Like, yeah, because when she briefed me on it, I was like, oh, I've heard about it, but I didn't know the date myself. So like, I'm with you.
It was confusing.
Not that I necessarily would have shown up. I might have shown up if I would have known, because I talked to her, and she was able, because it was just the administration there, so they got like kind of a private.
It was just confusing, and so I think we need to do a better job advertising these things, and
confusing, like me and you going from Monday to Saturday to Tuesday to Thursday.
But you know what I'm
saying?
Because I clicked on,
okay.
It just wasn't. It just was more confusing.
But it was,
But it was an important thing. I thought they would get good outcome because it was about social media and.
I mean, it's important to. Social media influences all of us. Even me without a social media account, I can still, except for Facebook. I don't think I can click on anything on Facebook because it wants you to have an account. But like, I can go onto Twitter and look at stuff and lurk, if you will. You know what I mean? But some of them you can and can't. So it influences because it's a narrative being set out there. And then the narrative for the kids is that it's funny to destroy things and that kind of stuff. And we've had incidences of that at the schools, and it's costing us money.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one thing,
But us being the taxpayers, like when I say us, I'm talking all of us.
well, one thing, and of course I didn't get to talk to you yesterday. Today's Friday, so because I was like, hey, we really need to put this on the agenda, but was like the whole vandalism to the bathrooms at the school, because it's a constant battle and it's costing us huge amounts of money, and it's absolutely freaking ridiculous. So I don't get it. And I said to Rodney, I was like, I always looked at this bathrooms this way. If I go in and make a mess or screw with the toilet or do anything stupid, like, okay. But then when I need it again, an hour later, say I'm like, oh, here's the bathroom again. Oh, I just destroyed that bathroom. I can't go in there. Like, this is stupid.
So you applied logic and reason?
Yeah.
Not many teenagers or, preteens are thinking about consequences and long-term effects. They're in the moment.
Well, it's about time they start to think about this.
I know. Well, that it comes with practice and training, and then losing privileges.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
All right, I have a meme. I'm not going to put it up, though. Like, I'm not going to put it up. I'm just going to read it because I don't feel like putting it up. But because it's words. It's not, So isn't it weird? Now, we've kind of talked about this before, but isn't it weird that in America, our flag offends so many people, but our benefits don't? I don't like that.
That's like the people coming across the border allegedly, right, in those photos, and they're waving their country's flags. Like, why? Like, why would I wouldn't even let them? Like, I wouldn't even take a clipboard out and be like, all right, hey, go back, man, go back where that flag is from.
Why are you here? Yeah. Why are you here? If you were,
you should have like you should be dressed in red, white, and blue, yes, sparklers.
I love America.
Uncle Sam hat on.
And that's what pisses me off, because this whole like immigration thing that's happening now, which it's not an immigration thing, it's just an invasion.
It's an invasion of our border by
like
males 18 to 49 that are fighting age that should be making their country better. They should be starting a podcast like us, pontificating.
So like, I know someone that
until the government comes and takes them away at some of these countries. But anyway,
I know someone that came to America like in her 20s, couldn't speak English, was from Brazil, was here like on a visa, then like stayed illegally, right? Which a lot do, but then
was deported immediately, and then the guy who ran 3 people over 6 months got to stay. And got his own house and apartment paid for. Workforce housing.
So no, she like learned English here. She had her young son with her, so she learned English, and she's the most patriotic, proud to be American person. Like, she took her citizenship test and passed, a few years back, and like, you would never find a more proud American. I feel like most of the immigrants that come here, that's how they are. They
the ones that do it the right way,
yes,
because it's not easy.
The right way. Now, granted,
it's expensive.
Did she technically do it the right way because she stayed after her visa was up? No, but she went through all the steps to become a citizen and to actually be here. She didn't walk across the border illegally. She didn't, bring her family. She didn't do any of that stuff, like which is happening right now. And she wasn't given help from the government either. It wasn't like, oh, here's your Obama phone and here's your this and here's your this. Like, they are purposely enticing these people to come here. And they're like, whoa, we're trying to
busing them here.
Yes. Well, we're trying to figure
They're not walking 1,800 miles and showing up at 400 pounds and not sweaty and dirty and
clothes nicer than mine. Like, wait, you're so poor and deprived in your country, yet you're showing up just like that? I don't think so.
And you're obese.
Right. If you just walked 1,800 miles.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I walked 100 miles in Maine, and I lost 23 pounds in 10 days.
So there wouldn't be any 400-pounders. They'd
no.
be like,
they would have fallen out on the
clothes
first.
Would be falling off, like. Then I'd be like, see that woman right there?
She wants to be American.
She lost 200 pounds on this trip. Automatic American citizen, guaranteed. Here you go. No, it's ridiculous. And now you have all these sanctuary cities crying and, oh, we can't take this amount of people and blah blah blah.
Because it was gaslighting, acting like they're better than everybody. It's like people in New York City telling me and you to reduce our carbon footprint. Meanwhile, like, I love that meme. That meme is so perfect. It's like you look at this concrete desert of misery and just nastiness, and then they're going to sit there and preach at me about anything. You're the fool, buddy, sister. Get out of the city, man. It's not worth it.
Well, I think Adams finally woke up to that a little bit now because he's starting to see the light a little different. Like, oh, maybe this isn't a good thing, because the amount of numbers he's dealing with are nothing compared to what comes across the border every day.
Here's my whole thing. It's funny that that's happening, but I stand by my original thing, which is Governor Abbott is a pansy. He should close the border down, not even let them in. He's making a point. I disagree with it. Close the border. Don't let anyone in. Make the federal government come down there and work it out. That's one of the few things they're supposed to do. Let them come down there and figure it out, because I guarantee, it's not going to take it to the courts and let the courts interpret the Constitution.
Yeah, or sound California.
I mean, that's assuming that it's all up board. It's all
board.
above board. Thank you, good Lord.
Well, they actually did have
When I say on board, above board.
They did have a case yesterday or ended yesterday, whatever it was, and it was a unanimous decision, which you don't ever see those anymore because it's political. It's not law. It's like, what side am I on? But this was a lawsuit going after Twitter for a terrorist attack in another country at some point, saying like basically Twitter was responsible for it because that's how they communicated, and the Supreme Court's like, no, they aren't legally responsible for this. They didn't.
So was AT&T responsible for anybody that used an AT&T cell phone, or T-Mobile for anybody using one of their burners?
Exactly. So
this country,
it's always the blame game, which I mean, it's interesting because another
frustrates me so.
Story was Montana. The state of Montana is banned TikTok. So basically told Google and the Apple Store, whatever, like you can't legally allow TikTok on. So if it's already on your phone, you're good, but you can't download it from that app supposedly anymore. And, of course people are like, well, that violates my free speech. I'm like, not really, because no one's telling you can't talk. Just because, I mean, that's kind of like saying, okay, if the Eagle Times goes out of business, like your free speech was just, no, that's a platform.
No,
There's
some validity to it because that's different, the one that you used.
All right.
But this is the government saying, yeah, we're not going to allow you to use this. Man, I have a hard time with that. I now at school, I said it as an individual. I walked in and I saw TikTok advertised, and the first thing when I walked in, and I'm like, why would we actively encourage kids to use this platform when we know that the kinds of stuff that they push? Because I mean, you can go and do an experiment yourself and set up an account and put a fake age in there and see what they're recommending to you as soon as you set up your account and see if it's appropriate.
Right.
And it might be, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe because things can be manipulated, right? I'm not going to go set up an account because I don't even want TikTok on anything. But if it's that important, validate and see what it does. See what it is before you let your kids on it. But I got a hard time with the government telling anybody what they can and can't do.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have a hard time with Montana saying, hey, I don't want BS videos being shot out to 13-year-old kids because this is not right. This is manipulation. It's just like advertising, right? You're not allowed to put...
we're all being manipulated by all this stuff.
Yeah, like all the Saturday morning cartoons over the years, how they tried to get us that they were making them safer for kids or whatever, but they all just encourage you to go buy toys and sugar and toys. It's never really changed other than they got rid of cigarettes and nicotine, that kind of stuff. But I have an issue. I don't like the government telling me what the government's supposed to be backed off. So I like Montana, but I don't know. What is it? Is it for the whole entire state or for like school age kids?
The state.
So they're trying to get TikTok to change some of their bullshit in the U.S.
Which, I mean, I get, like, my whole thing with TikTok is that it's a Chinese-owned company, and they've said for how long now that basically they're just taking your information, which now at the same time...
Well, it's more than that. It's the videos. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, so if you go set up an account, and I don't know what the age limit is for TikTok, but I think it's supposed to be like 13 for all social media, but I could be wrong. But the videos allegedly... Like you can compare what you get in China versus the U.S. China's getting educational videos and all kinds of stuff where they're 13-year-olds, and our kids are getting, you're in the wrong body. You need to do this kind of, like, it totally bombards kids with social justice things instead of like historical, beautiful, inquisitive, inquiring, educational things, which, I mean, not all kids are going to want to do education, but like there's a difference. And so I say allegedly because I haven't actually done that test, but I've read articles. That's what happens.
You know, a lot of it too is, and the thing I hate about it too is where like this whole government steps in, is because ultimately at the end of the day, if parents are doing their job, right, and watching what kids are doing and not just letting them do whatever, you wouldn't need the government. And not that we do need it, but like to step in and be like, hey, we got to ban this, we got to do this.
Well, the first thing all of us have as parents have to do is accept that our kids are not perfect, that they're gonna mouth off to us or other adults, teachers, people in authority, which, I'm not one to submit to authority. Like, I try to teach Zeta to respect authority, but know your rights, and don't let anybody trample you. Like, cop doesn't just come up and start giving you orders when you haven't done anything and they haven't identified anything that you've done to get their attention. Like, they don't have a right to talk to you if you're just sitting there. Now, if there's something dangerous and they're like, hey, we need you to back up, it's different. I'm talking about coming at you to try to ask you questions like you've done something wrong. Because, I keep that at a distance. Authority, like America was founded to go out and be your best, do right by each other.
Yeah. And then just,
I mean, a lot more than that, but the way I interpret it, for me personally, it's do the best you can do, be proud, and do the right thing, even when no one's looking. If you don't do the right thing when no one's looking, you're going to have authoritarian, because people are going to get tired of your bullshit, right? So, like, if you're not doing the right thing, then they're like, hey, we got to get this family in line. So do I have any volunteers? And next thing you know, you got a police force. Now you got police acting on behalf of the state. They're not acting on behalf of the citizens. And then everybody starts forgetting what the Constitution is really about. That's a slippery slope that I live on every day.
Did you see any of the congressional hearing with the whistleblowers, the FBI?
I mean,
where the Democrats
I don't know how you could be a Democrat anymore. Like, granted, I don't know how you could be a Republican either, but I definitely don't know how you could be a Democrat anymore.
Attack the whistleblower, and it's
like attack their loyalties.
Military person originally, like,
dude, they in the military back when I was in. Granted, I've been retired for 4 or 5 years now, whatever it is. We have Constitution Day. Everybody gets a Constitution, and then at certain levels, you have at least a 45-minute long class on the Constitution. It's one of those things where, how I complain about the social justice BS that is crammed down our throats. Like, after a year of it, you have it all memorized. It's like, it's brainwashing, basically, because they keep telling you the same thing over and over again, and you're like, that don't even make sense, but you're not allowed to question it because the military. Anyway, it's just
now it's there's no pride. You're taught not taught necessarily in school, but like you're taught. I mean, some schools maybe, but there's no pride now.
Those 4 guys probably know more about the Constitution than most of the congressmen and women asking them questions. That's on both sides of the aisle, because we did that back in the day, and those gentlemen are roughly my age or a little younger, maybe a little older. So I know that they did it because it's required. It's not optional. Now, you might miss it because you're on a mission or something, but we take it very seriously. Like, I don't take an oath to a general, to a president. The oath was to the United States of America.
The Constitution.
Yeah.
So don't all those jackasses in Washington, they take the same oath too, and they should... we don't want to go down that train.
I know, but so when I got heated the other day, part of that is my passion.
So you want to talk about secret societies?
Well, here's the thing, Tim, and it might have been lost because I dropped a lot of F-bombs because it's along the same lines of what we're talking about. Dedicate your life. There's a document that clearly defines the expectations of how this country was formed. Meanwhile, over the last 25, 30 years, we have people attacking that way of life, saying it is no way of life, there's no culture, there's no anything. And, it used to be what, baseball, grandma and apple pie, or fire, whatever it was. But there was like 3 things that are traditionally American. Like, that's a culture.
Yeah.
Like baseball, apple pie, family living, loving your country. That was that's the low end of like, so you can't say there's no culture here. So we have this, and then we set up the Electoral College, which is why we're not a democracy, because a democracy is mob rule. If we didn't have the Electoral College, New York, Chicago, or New York State, Illinois, because of Chicago, California, and Texas, pretty much would decide every politician or every president.
Everything.
And like they would make the decision because they have more people, the population. Right. So that's why we have the Electoral College, because it keeps it fair. So you have all these wackadoos that are trying to attack the Electoral College because kids aren't educated on what the importance of the Electoral College is it keeps the tyranny of the majority, because that's what democracy is in its truest sense, is tyranny of the majority.
And you think about those places you just named. California has the fastest rate of people leaving because it's a third world country at this point, because they've run it into the ground so bad. New York, second, because of their taxes that are so ridiculously high. And then Illinois, which I don't know where it falls on the list, but Chicago, you hear constantly about
Chicago and
violence.
East St. Louis are just ridiculously out of control.
So would you want those clowns in those areas that make those decisions making all the decisions for your country?
Right. And I'm sure there's like a couple more, but you get my point, right?
Yes,
but the majority is that's what would happen if we didn't have the Electoral College. So with that being said, whenever I went on my tirade the other day, let's look at locally. And fortunately, I had a long-time watcher, first-time caller call me up yesterday and, let me know that I probably didn't articulate how I'm feeling, so maybe take another shot at it. So here's the thing. Last year we voted to, and you and I both were on here adamantly supporting the rec center / community center. It failed. The community said, no, that's not what's important to us. And so it was ignored by the town. So the town was like, we took a vote. Everybody said, no, we're going to go after it anyway. They know better than the voters, who at the end of the day are going to have to support this with their tax dollars. So this year we had the bus barn, and while no one said they're not going to respect it, they said they're not going to respect it in so many words of like, there's still, it's up for argument, discussion, legal review, whatever. And then you can go back even further before I moved here, and you had the town vote to get rid of toll because of all these things that the school said, and then the school didn't get rid of toll. So there's like 3 examples I can give you. I wasn't here for the school one, but just to keep it fair, that it's not just on the select board. So the people made their will known, and then the elected officials decided to ignore it. And that's what it looks like with the bus barn. And that's why when Barry asked me as an individual, what have we thought about the other thing? It's like, well, I appreciate it, but the citizens spoke. So to me, it's a done deal. Like now it's just a matter of, all right, let's figure out how to get these 2 bays, repair our relationship, regardless of all the other, there was a period or a comma, like some legal thing. Like it doesn't matter to me individually. And that's what I was so passionate about, is because, when you take an oath and you risk your life and other people risk their lives, and it might be misguided, and we probably were sent out on some wild goose chases over the years. It looks like, as you see what's going on and what the motivations are, that there's usually 2, right? So I'm sure the main reason is one reason why we executed like the invasion of Iraq, but there's probably 2, 3, or 4 more other reasons why that aren't so patriotic, noble, whatever you want to call it. So I get all that. I just don't want people to accept the fact that their vote doesn't matter. Like our vote matters. If we take a vote, just like we were talking about the other day, the firefighters asked for that. The community supported the firefighters, and then they were like, well, no, you did it wrong, so it doesn't count. So, and I don't know the end of that. So I don't know if they went ahead and took care of that afterwards, but my gut tells me, based off of my observations over the last 4 years that I've lived here, 4.5, that they probably just like, well, you didn't do it right, so nope, you don't get to do that.
So talking about this is
So that's where my passion comes from. Is there's a tyranny going on, and this is the word of the guy who left me a message said that when you're not doing what the people ask, then it's tyranny. You're doing what you want. You know better than everybody else, and that's not what quote unquote democracy is.
meh.
Because the message is sent. Like, I get it. That
No, 704 people should show up at the next select board's meeting, pissed off. 704 people.
Well, no, it's a joint meeting.
Well, no, their next. Let's see.
Oh, they have a meeting before us.
Yeah, I think they should, because we're a Thursday. They're a Monday. They'll be the first Monday. So,
And granted, they didn't say no, right? But it appears that's where they're like,
listen, before
it's not over with.
Before the vote, they already we were told by two people that.
But it should matter. It should matter because
it should matter. Yeah.
Bert went out and got the signatures, right? And so he got it on there. We went to the deliberative. Again, I don't. To me, it doesn't matter if it's worded wrong or anything else. The desire of the people is for us to work together and do it. The desire of the people was we don't want a community center right now. So now, and I can't say this enough. I supported it. It's on the record, everything else.
Yeah.
The issue is that how much has the community been able to say, yes, we'll take that money from Gene Shaheen?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, don't you think that if the town said, no, we don't want this, we don't want to, is it just because you got the money secured and so now that's okay? Like, because the vote wasn't, if it was free, we would say yes. The vote was...
Right, like Bert said so many times, you could have just threw that on the warrant this year. And does the town vote to accept a community center, done by donation? And I have no doubt it would have passed. I really do. I have no doubt.
I mean, everything just about passed this year.
Right. We voted on a $10 million bond for the sewer, $28 million sewer treatment plant. So I can't imagine we wouldn't say, yeah, we'll take a free community center. I mean, knowing obviously as time goes on, it will cost us more money, but you weren't given that option.
Take it to the people. Stand out and hand out cards and have people. Some people flipped us off and were like, "F you," because there were 100 people that did not support the bus, so they had
145.
145. Now, not everybody flipped us off or anything. Other people just, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there were some passionate people there.
Right.
I think even the librarian lady got flipped off. She might have been the only one that got flipped off. I don't know. I think I saw somebody maybe flip me or Bird off.
We had a comment on our show from the last show we did, and it said, "I'm pretty sure the firefighters petition to have a 24 on, 48 off, so they could have two personnel full time on duty. So instead of having one person full time, they'd have two." And so they are not recognized. They're not a recognized unit, so it has nothing to do with a contract issue. So I'm not sure why they just didn't do what they needed to do. And he says they also did the same thing when we petitioned, when the board was messing with EMS coverage and did what they wanted to do because it was the agenda they wanted, which, and those aren't my words, those are comments on Facebook under that post.
But that's my point is, and that's why I bring up, because I wasn't here, but with the toll thing, and people have issue with that, and it's the same thing with the community center and everything else. And we can't condition our town to accept that their vote doesn't matter. Like, our votes matter. Now, it also matters that we do things properly. But at the end of the day, we're all on I look at us and the select board as being on the same team. It's like, it's not even it's like you have your travel squad and your home team or whatever, and they're both equally going to win. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard. I can't really think of a good analogy, but we're both on the same team. And we both work for the citizens, and we got to do the right by them. That's not to say that it's not a great idea to have a community center, but win people over so that they understand exactly what we're getting out of it.
Sell it to them.
Yeah, sell it to us.
Right. Yeah. No,
like with toll, that people still talk to me about that.
I know,
and I don't even know anything about it, but it's the same thing.
And
so it's not just the select board, right?
But I look at that, like, so if anyone mentions that, I was like, listen, I wasn't involved really in any politics at that point, and I had nothing to do with it. So to rehash and rethink about it and retalk about it and whatever, it's a complete waste of time because it's done, it's over with, there's nothing we do. I understand 100% what happened there, though. They sold you a lie, and yeah, and I don't even know who was on the board at that point. So I don't know, but it wasn't me, it wasn't you, it wasn't Donna, it wasn't
but that doesn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Like now,
that should make you question more things, maybe, and want to pay more attention. But not, and that's a fight too to get people to pay attention. But
so the concern is that we just start accepting the fact that our voices don't matter. You know, like our voices matter. The vote matters. You know, with the firefighters, if it was something that didn't even need to be voted on or whatever, like, are we helping them out, or like,
why aren't we taking our professionals' advice?
Like the airport guy, like it adds up. Like, we all don't know better than everybody else. Like, sometimes your gut may tell you something, and then it's your job to be able to explain it as because we represent people. It's not like I can go walk down the road and know which 19 roads, voted for Steve, and that's who I represent. Like, I represent the whole entire town. And so, I don't know. It just, if there's a vote, it means something to the people. It needs to be respected. There's a rule of law. I understand your commas, the legal, whatever. You can't do this, that, or the other. At the end of the day, and I kind of got it from Barry, I think. Maybe I read into what he was saying, but I kind of got that, like, he got the message. We need to try to move forward and work it out. But individually, personally, I'm not going to accept a pole barn that makes it worse conditions. No,
that we have to pay for.
Basically, like.
Yeah,
so it's not even the fact that we have to pay for it. Like the issue, well, we have to pay for it in the budget year that we don't have any money budgeted for it, right? Because then that means we have to move something and something else gets cut that we thought we needed, right, to make up for that because the budget's set.
At the end of the day, it comes down to this, and I won't even just say my opinion because it's many opinions, but. Put your employee in check, grow a set, and tell your employee, no, this is how we're going to do it. Because at the end of the day, your employee works for you, and it's not the other way around. And I think most people can see in town, it's been the other way around for many years now. So, and then I think the next thing that would be important to remember is eventually when you do hire a new town manager, and you probably should have a meeting and myself and Bert and a lot of these other people in town, just so you know, if you don't do your job, right from the get-go, right from the start of the position, just so you know, this big group of people here, if you don't do your job, will be on your ass constantly. So do what Newport wants.
I think they'll be able to figure that out. They should watch some select board meetings before they apply for the job, whenever it opens up. My thing is don't accept tyranny, people. Talk to us as your electorate. If we're not doing something, if we're everybody, we're all human and make mistakes. But these are very deliberate, not listening to the will of the people because something wasn't done properly on the form or whatever.
It's not even that. They don't even care about that. It's not that. But that's an excuse.
But my point is they have said, work together, figure it out. We want ours, we want it the way it was. Just make the conditions better for the school, which is what we wanted in the first place. And I think that there's a personal pride getting mixed into that. Maybe, possibly. It's just my own, it's not personal.
No,
it's personal for me when you don't listen to the will of the people and you violate, my own sense of what is right and wrong. And a vote is a vote. I got it. You can't allow certain things to get on the warrant if it's not done properly. There's procedural things.
Right, but it was done.
But all that stuff was done. All signatures legally were collected.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like when they were going to vote to do stuff on the common, and Mr. Irwin's like, no, you're not, because back in 75, it's right here. This has to go to the people. So, it's the same kind of thing, and it's not It's just those 5 board members didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's not a select board thing. Thank God she found it and she had it. Someone needs to write all this stuff down so they have a list in front of them. So when they want to make a decision, be like, oh, wait a minute, we can't without this. But it's the same thing. So if they just go and do whatever they want down there anyways, okay,
Yeah.
you just violated
You just
the vote.
violated the vote of 40 years ago.
So, no, and if you wanted to change it, then put it on the warrant for next year.
Put it on the warrant and
the
take it to
has the
town.
authority to do this, whatever. So, I just don't get it. At the end of the day, just do your job. Do what's best for Newport, not just the town of Newport in general, the whole community, because all our tax money, it all represents Newport. So the better the school does, the better the town is. The better the town is, vice versa. Just do what your job is.
There's not a secret society of how X number of people in this town or all the way up to the top to the country that should be making decisions that affect us all. It should all be done out in the open with discussion and understanding. And to me, it doesn't need a whole, the whole legal system to me is a crock. There used to be a point in time where men and women, it was mostly men, I'm sure. I'll sound like a sexist, but that's the way it used to be. You shake someone's hand and your word meant something. If you lied, they chopped your hand off so you couldn't steal anything anymore. It was a brutal time, and I'm not saying go back to that. But our word and our value meant something more than, the latest clicks or likes, whatever. And that's not what the select board are doing. And again, I'm being fair here because the school board did it too to the town 6 years ago, whenever it was, with the whole toll thing. Because my perception of it is, because I wasn't here, is that they didn't do a good job of convincing people why they changed. Right? That should have went back on the warrant, or there should have been a special meeting and said, hey, I know we passed a brief this, whatever. So it should have been a vote. It should have came back up for a vote.
And someone that had brains back then, if someone back there had brains to say, oh, wait, if we were to surrender this school, it is offered to a charter school first, so you wouldn't be able to sell it anyways or anything else. So, yeah, just all around.
Yeah, and it just shows that we have to do research as elected officials and make sure we're doing the right thing. And believe me, I think that board will do the right thing. That it didn't come across as like, hey, good job, you guys won, we're going to get together and fix it, right? It got rehashed with inaccuracies, and I'm sure they'll say that we have inaccuracies in ours, right? There's always two sides and then the truth in the middle.
I don't give a shit about any of that. People voted. This is what they want. They want to keep it the way it's been. End of story. And I'll tell them that in a meeting if I have to. I won't play games. I'm a real straight shooter. That's why I'm not very politically correct most of the time, because I just don't give a shit. I don't care if some word I say offends you. Suck it the fuck up. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, I care. That's why.
No, I don't care if I hurt your feelings.
Oh, I don't care about hurting people's feelings because I'm not intentionally trying to hurt someone's feelings, and I don't think you are either. I think that's why you don't care, is because that's not your intention. If your feelings are getting hurt, you're taking it too personally, individually, personally. This, my issue is the system as it is right now is not set up, and it doesn't appear to be listening to the will of the people.
Right.
And that's what our country is supposed to do. That's what I served for. That's why I was so passionate the other day, is the will of the people matters. You need to listen to the people. And it's not just in our town. It goes all the way up. You got Biden making all these decisions that, you can go look at any poll and everybody's like, this is stupid. And yet we're all just sitting here saying it's stupid instead of going and shutting the border down, whatever. The railroad companies, if they really needed to, they would just start. They would do the right thing. People would just do the right thing, and that's what frustrates me. Is people aren't doing the right thing from my perspective, and I committed my life to it, and I know people who lost their lives, and it's important to recognize what our country was founded on, all the way down to the state. And I got a lot to learn still with the state. I'm learning every day with RSAs and the laws and everything else, because I've only lived here 4.5 years, so, but it takes research. So that's where I'm coming from. Execute the will of the people. Anything less is tyranny. And thank you for the long-time watcher, first-time caller, to set me straight, making sure that I vocalize, because I was emotional when I went off the other day.
Yeah, that's what people want, though. They want raw emotion. They want to see people actually care and think the way they do, and not just do what they see every day on TV, where we're going to do this, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
They don't want a Lindsey Graham.
No.
You want to write a stern letter?
Ugh. All right, so we're wrap show up. I want to thank our sponsors: Beard Sewer and Drain, Sunshine Realty, Twin State Paving. If you need any sewer and drain work, reach out to Beard Sewer and Drain. If you're selling a house, buying a house, Sunshine Realty, Teresa can help you with any of that stuff. And Twin State Paving for any of your paving needs. Reach out to them. Great people. All these, we've got good sponsors. We always have. So, of course, if we didn't have good sponsors, we wouldn't let them on the show because we'll vet our sponsors just like anything else.
We're not in it to make money. We're in it to educate the town, man. This is a loss, financially. There's nothing to gain in this. This is all just trying to help do our part so that anybody who agrees with us, you're not alone.
This starts here. Change your town, then try to branch out from there. Or other towns say, oh, well, Newport changed their town.
And I guarantee you, just to be clear, I don't think that the select board are like, oh, they're not sitting there and doing this out of, spite or anything else. They're trying to do what they think is right for the town.
They're just
you know what I mean? I think that's part of it. I don't think that they're like, oh, well, they voted, screw them. I don't think that.
No, they're just being misled by some jackass in town is what I think personally. And this is just my opinion, but I'm sure he's saying, well, if we don't do it this way, then this rec center is not going to happen. So, oh, wait, what happened to the way we were going to do it before? And they probably take it like, oh, okay. So, once again, put your employee in his damn place where he belongs. Simple.
You do it to me all the time. Beard Productions is a hard company to work for.
Oh, my God.
I'm just kidding, everybody.
On that note, have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's going to be nice out. Prom is tomorrow.
The parade, 5:30 downtown? 5-ish?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look it up. But, yeah, kids will come up from the Opera House, and it's a great time. And, get out, enjoy it. It's supposed to be rainy tomorrow. I'm really hoping it's just in the morning or something. It's a great time in Newport too. Is
the car parade tomorrow. I don't have the time, but I'm pretty sure it'll be about 5:30 because they leave from the high school, then they go up to Woodlawn.
Yeah, they go by there, and then they'll introduce the couples as they come out of the cars, or the students as they come out of the cars and stuff, and then for the last few years since COVID, which I'm a traditionalist, I always kind of like Opera House is a place, but
the airport's got, it's cooler.
It's way better. I get it.
Cooler in the sense of it's not as hot. I guess they were.
Yeah.
The big complaint was everybody was.
And I wish I knew the gentleman's name that owns the hangar that donates it to them, because this would be the third or fourth year.
I did not know that it was donated. So
from what
we need to find it out and thank him and his family or business.
So it's a beautiful big hangar down there, and he opens it up for them to have prom. And
it's so awesome. That's what I love about Newport.
And
that's the kind of stuff.
I'm very traditional, and I'm don't like change. I still think that the
well, that's why they get the picture in front of the Opera House, because it's classy.
Yes, I still think our graduation should be on the Common personally, but definitely prom there is much nicer.
We don't really have the parking, do we, on the Common?
It's always worked on it.
That was just a joke. If you watched it,
we don't want you to step on roots, so no. I get it. There's more area down to the high school, but I just like the tradition of downtown Newport. But that's just my opinion. We do it different, see?
Have you brought that up to Shannon or Donna?
No, because my one opinion shouldn't.
Oh, yeah. But I asked, what's the... I think mine was at a high school stadium, so I love the Common. I talk about it anytime you bring it up. That it just takes me back to 1776.
Kids would walk up on the gazebo, and then as everyone drove by, it was louder down there than it is on the football field. So there is that. But it felt more community. Having it there felt more like just a community's graduation in a way. And I don't dislike how we do it now. Tradition. That's all.
Yeah. Was it Memorial Day last year where Jack Wagon had his motorcycle? It seemed like for 28 seconds it was 1,000 decibels. Do you remember that? It was louder than the cannons going off.
That's happening soon too. We're gonna have to go to that. That was I like that.
Yeah.
Feel that cannon going off. Pretty cool. All right, let's wrap the show up. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next week.
Till I see the golden gates, troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you.